Welcome to the Aging with Purpose show. I'm Sunita Johnson, and here are three essential tips to help older adults combat loneliness and isolation. It's a common issue that comes with aging. First, stay connected. Regular communication with family and friends is crucial. Use technology like video calls, social media, and messaging apps to keep in touch, especially when a lot of our loved ones may live further away, or maybe everyone's just busy. Now, if you're not technically savvy, there are plenty of resources to help you get connected, including community centers and online tutorials, just like those community classes that are online where people who have like interests participate in. That's another way where you can actually meet new friends with common, you have things in common with. And then second, mentioned earlier, join community activities. Engaging in local clubs, classes, or volunteer opportunities, especially volunteer opportunities. There's so many programs out there to get involved with. Now, these can all provide a sense of purpose and belonging, which is important as well. Now, many communities offer a variety of programs specifically designed for the senior community or just those of us who are aging in general. And the activities range from exercise groups to art classes. Now, participating in these activities can help you meet new people and build meaningful connections. Finally, adopt a healthy lifestyle. I feel like a lot of these tips I share in many other episodes. So there's a common denominator in how these tips can help your life, assist your life staying healthy and connected overall. So you want to develop a healthy lifestyle. Physical health significantly impacts your mental well-being. Regular exercise, a balanced diet, and adequate sleep are essential. So consider joining a fitness class or taking daily walks. Maintaining good health can boost not only your mood, but your energy level, making it easier to stay socially active. Now, remember, staying socially connected is just as important as maintaining physical health. These steps can help mitigate the feelings of loneliness and isolation that often comes with aging. Now, let's face it, you don't necessarily have to get to the senior citizenship to have experienced lost ones. Uh, I'm 57, and I would say probably in the last 6, 7 years, I've lost four friends who are in their late 40s to their 50s. So as we get older, family members, et cetera, are transitioning, moving away further. A lot of people are moving overseas. So that actually adds to distance. So you want to consider implementing these strategies. The sooner you start, the more you're accustomed to keeping connected, and which would take you well into your senior citizenship ages. Now, thank you for tuning in, and please stay connected. Are you considering a showbiz career for your child, but you're wondering where to start? Can you trust the business, and will your child be successful? To answer these questions, Pamela Warner has written a Parent's Guide to Managing Showbiz Kids. She's a veteran parent manager with over 40 years of expertise, and Pamela has guided her son, Malcolm Jamal Warner's career. And of course, you know his name. Malcolm became famous for his role as Theo in The Cosby Show and has not stopped working in movie roles with long-running television series such as Malcolm and Eddie, Major Crimes, The Resident, and 911. Pamela Warner has been an entrepreneur most of her life. She launched Ms. Good Cookie after graduating from college, and this catering business serviced small mom and pop businesses along the Crenshaw Boulevard corridor in Los Angeles. Around that same time, her son's career began flourishing, and she was thrust into full-time management without any training and little guidance. Pamela successfully guided her son's career into its current success. Now, in 1999, she established Warner Management, a multifaceted management company involved in producing and guiding its clients' careers. Pamela, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So what inspired you to write this book and specifically for parents who want to get their kids in show business?
Well, I think that answers the question. It's specifically for parents who want to get their children in show business. And a lot of parents just they have no idea what to do, where to go, where to start. Either their child has expressed an interest in doing this, or they have an interest in putting their children in the show business because for some reason they think that it's a maybe a great thing to do. Um, so when I started, there was no reference material. There was no one to talk to. There was no internet to do any research. And I had to do this by the seat of my pants, bearing in mind at all times, or my focus at all times was what was best for my child. And this is the crux of the entire book. What is best for the child? Not what's best for your dreams or what you think is right, but what is best for the child. The parent has to separate their dreams, their desires, their unmet needs, and focus on what is best for the child. And there's a chapter in there that covers it. I think it says, "Why do you want to do this?" And so the the first few chapters are really for the parent to do some inner work, some inner thinking, some inner soul searching to be sure that they have the time, that they're very clear that this is not about them, but about the child before they embark on this journey. Because it can be a very difficult journey. It can be very intense. And you have to not focus on yourself once again, but focus on the child.
Okay. What are the key, I guess you could say, points for a parent to know for sure that they should get their child in the business?
I don't think that they should get their child in the business. Just like I don't think it's a parent should make their child take dance lessons or they should make their child do anything. This is a desire, it's a thought, it's an interest, but it's not a should. It's not a should. One of the things, if they are looking to do this, is to test the waters, have conversations with the child, test the waters by putting them in local theater groups, encourage them to engage in school theater activities, theater activities, and test the waters before you start putting your money out. And if the child is still enthused and wants to do this, then you know to proceed. Because children, they want to do something today, they don't want to do it tomorrow. And so they change their minds, which is a good thing. They don't get stuck. And sometimes parents, they laid out money for pictures and whatever other expenses they may have put money out for. And then they're like, well, no, you're going to do this. I've spent my money and blah, blah, blah. No, no. So test it first. And you test it, like I said, by finding just small theater groups in your area. And once again, engaging in encouraging your child to engage in school theater activities.
Yeah. So do you feel that there's some kids who just have a natural talent for wanting to entertain, and maybe there's feedback from different relatives or people at the teachers at the school that maybe, you should consider that route for the child? Is that how it usually happens?
No, there's no usual. It's a one size fit. It's not a one size fits all. Every situation is different, in particular to the child. There are some children who do have an absolute temperament for this. Now, they may be more comfortable in a surrounding with their family and their friends, and they can really, show their talents. But then putting them in a professional situation may be something totally different. So that's why I say you have to test it first, because what they do in a comfortable arena is not the same when they're going in to see a casting director, someone they've never met, a building and a place they've never been in, and it can be scary for a child.
What about starting locally before taking that big? Because everybody wants to be in LA or New York, where the main work is done. Uh, do you suggest that they start locally and grow I mean, I guess improve the child improves his or her talents, her skill sets. How does that work?
Now, I think that once again, if you don't live in the entertainment mecca here in Los Angeles, then you live in Idaho. Once again, use the resources around you, the local theater groups first before you pack your family up and move to Los Angeles or move to New York. So it's an investment of time and to really see if this is what the child wants to do. But things are so different now. You can live in Idaho and you can audition in Idaho, put yourself on tape and get booked. So things are very different. That part is very different. But the fact still remains that you need to be close to the industry. You need because for travel reasons, for a lot of reasons, you still need to be close to the industry.
Okay. And I guess what would be some of the main tips that you're providing in your book to parents? Like some key tips.
I think the key tips are once you've decided that this is what you're going to do and you're pretty confident that you want to proceed and your child is on board and having a support system is vital and your support system is on board, you then form a team and you form a team either you can do all this or you form a team. You need to have an agent. That you cannot do. You cannot become an agent unless you become an agent. You need management. You need someone to direct you and sort of kind of give you options, show you, and help you determine which projects are right for your child and which ones are not. Some of this you will also have to decide on your own. You need to be very careful and be very diligent about opening the Coogan account, which is an account where the child's money is put in, and it's for their protection. A certain percentage of their earnings go into this account, and it's saved until they have reached a certain age, and then they can have full access to their money. And this is based on Jackie Coogan, who was a child actor and actually worked all of his life. His parents, when he was a child actor making tons of money, they used his money for their own purposes. And when he became of age, he had no money. He had a couple of $100,000, I think, or maybe just a couple of $1,000. And that money could not be recouped. So the law came about based on this situation so that this doesn't happen and that parents cannot just use that money for themselves.
Okay.
A lot of parents feel that it's their kid, it's their child, but it's not. The child is the one that's working. It belongs to the child, and you can use a certain percentage of the money for their well-being, but you cannot put that paycheck in your back pocket.
Okay. When does a parent know that it's time to search for an agent? How do you search for an agent as well? And then can you explain the difference between an agent and management?
You research. Throughout the book, I strongly push research. Research, research, research. It's your saving grace. You will know that you need an agent when when your child is offered jobs and you don't understand the language of the contract that's put before you. You need an attorney and or an agent. You will need an agent to find other work for your child. If you are not an agent or a manager and plugged into the system, you don't know what's out there. You have no clue what's out there. Once you get an agent, or if you become the manager yourself, you have more access to information. Um, you will be able to kind of get an idea as to what's out there for your child. You will be able to just have a better overview of what's happening in the business. An agent is licensed by the state, and their fee is 10%. A manager, now that rules have changed. Originally, a manager was 15% because their job was more comprehensive than an agent. They handled more of the day to day of the child. They handled more of the, let's say, okay, mom, your child really should take vocal lessons. Or, mom, perhaps your child should study with this particular teacher. Or the manager would introduce the parents to different producers, and they just didn't they do more hands-on work than an agent. An agent is like an employment agency. Some agents will go beyond their basic duties. Many won't because they have more than your child that they're dealing with. So the agent is there to broker the deals and to make sure that you get paid and that the production company is doing what they're supposed to do. A manager's work is much more broad, but now managers as well, they're 10%. That they brought that figure down. But with a manager, it's negotiable. If the manager says, I really want 15% or 20%, that's negotiate. The standard percentage now for managers are 10, but that's negotiable. With an agent, it's levied by the state, 10%. You can't negotiate that. So that's some of the differences in between the manager and the agent.
And you stepped into the role as a manager for your son. Do you share in your book uh, for how a parent can determine if they should become the manager for their own child or if they should hire one, like to weigh the difference and whether they should go that route as well?
Yes, I knew that I had a manager initially. And with time, I realized that he was not the right person to manage my child. And I had to take over those responsibilities. You don't have to be the manager. You don't have to be the manager, but as long as you have a minor child, you have to make the decisions. You can have a manager that brings you the information and brings you the projects, but that manager cannot make any decisions for the minor child. Actually, a manager doesn't make or agent does not make decisions for the actor, be it an adult or a child anyway, but more so for the child. The parent still must be involved. You cannot hand your child off to a manager and let him do all the work. You must be involved. You must know what's going on with this project. You must know who's involved in this project and who your child will be around. So you cannot abdicate responsibility and say, oh, they're over there doing that and I can do my thing over here. You can't do that. You must be involved at all times, whether you want to be hands-on or not. You still have to engage with the manager. You still must be informed everything that comes that your way, the way for the child, and you have to be active on that level. But if you don't want to, you want to kind of sit back and you don't want to get your hands into it, that's okay too. But you must form a team and you still must be involved.
Okay. I'm kind of guessing that having a manager initially allows you to sort of learn the business somewhat before taking over. Is that
You can see it that way. You can absolutely see it that way.
okay? Now, how about is there a network of parents like as you got out there and met other parents, is there a network of support that's available, that can be available, that
I wouldn't say
also
that.
helps educate you?
No, I didn't find that at all.
Oh, wow.
No, not at all. No.
Wow. Okay, I'm surprised about that. So
Yeah.
what are now that okay, of course the internet, everything, social media has opened up a lot of opportunities out there. Can you share some of the, I guess the how much broader uh, the landscape is now?
Because there's more information. There's much more information. You can Google anybody and anything, You
Mhm.
can Google any producer. You can Google any network and their own production companies. You can Google. When I came along, and there are I'm sure networking, parental networking stuff now. But when I came through, there was absolutely nothing, and no, and there were a few parents that I knew who had children in the business, and when I would ask them different questions, what to do, how to do, their standard answer was, "I don't know. I
Mm.
don't know. I don't know." So for many years, I thought they were just keeping information. They just did not want to share. But as I matured and got older, I realized they really didn't know. They did not know. They did not know. And that's why I'm writing the book, because I've learned a lot. And
Mhm.
I don't want parents to be in the dark the way I was in the dark. And it's a basic. It's not the seminal publication about this business. There's tons of books out there on this, but it's my journey. It's the things that I learned on the job training, hard knocks, mistakes, that I'm sharing with the parents, so they can use this as the foundation of whatever they learned through their research. I'm sure there's all kind of blogs. There's a lot of stuff out there now. But when I came through more than 40 years ago, there was absolutely nothing. There wasn't an internet. There was no
That's
internet.
true. It's really changed a lot. Um, okay, there was one point that was mentioned, I guess in an excerpt of your book regarding that your book helps parents to keep their child safe. That is a huge topic right now in the internet streets. I've seen there's a documentary out, I think, about some things that some Disney kids have gone
On the
through
set. Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
set.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What tips or advice do you give? Because I've met Malcolm. He's very, very, no, very normal, actually. And then I've met some kids when I used to model and worked on shows or TV projects where the child almost seemed like an adult. And then I've seen some things or heard some things that was scary, I think, if I was a parent with a child in the industry. And obviously, you've done a great job. So, what are some advice that you give to parents who are not sure how to navigate that?
How to navigate what?
Keeping the child, I guess you could say, down to earth, normal, keep them safe in the environment of a lot of adults. How do you just navigate, try to protect your child?
Be present.
Okay.
Be present. Be there.
Mhm.
Um, the child is the child's behavior is a reflection of the parent. If the
Mm.
parent is all fanned out and wild out and they just think that they've hit high cotton because their child is on this show and they act in a particular way, then their child is gonna take that up as well. You have to always remain the parent, always at all times. I'm not saying being an authoritarian figure. What I'm saying is be a parent, and you must be present at all times. You never allow your child to be alone with an agent or a manager. You are there. There's no reason for an agent or manager to have phone calls with your child without you being on that call. Things are different. Then it would be you get on the extension line. Now you don't. You can Zoom. Anything the agent has to say to your child, they can say to you. And if they feel uncomfortable doing that, they want to talk to their client, then you get rid of that agent and you get rid of that manager, because that's not safe,
Mhm.
nor is it a situation of integrity.
Yeah. Okay.
You have to remain present with your child at all times. Um, you the parent has to understand this is a business. It is not about them, and it's not about the child, really. It really is not, because your child can be replaced in a minute, in a second. There are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of children out there, and thousands upon thousands of parents who want to do this. So your child got picked, okay, but they could have picked somebody else.
Mm.
See what I'm saying? Your child is special to you. Your child is just like your job. you're not any more special than the person in the next office that you work with. You fill a role.
Mm-hmm.
They needed someone to do X, Y, and Z, and you fill that role. It's the very same thing. And it may sound a little harsh, but it's the reality of it. Your child is special to you, but your child can be replaced with somebody else. Your child just happened to be chosen for this particular role. It doesn't mean that your child is the beginning and end all of anything. I mean, that's just the harsh reality of it. You know,
Yeah.
I was lucky
Of life.
my child got chosen for one of the a historic television show. But do
Mm-hmm.
you know how many they went across the nation looking for children? He
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, oh boy, no, he was the last part of the interviews. He was
Mm-hmm.
the very tail end. You know how many children they saw for that role?
Wow.
Hundreds, hundreds.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that he was special. He was special for what they wanted. And
Mm-hmm.
he brought to the table what they wanted. It wasn't because he was cute. It wasn't because of any of those things that were special to me. You know, answer what I'm saying? He
Yeah.
came to
Yeah.
build what they wanted,
Mm.
and they hired him. And that's the way it goes.
Comes down to treating it like a business and recognizing that it is a business.
And if I can impart anything to these parents, that's what I want to impart. It is a business. It's
Mhm.
not personal. Has nothing to do with you or your child. Does your child have, we want a child with red hair and freckles, or we want a child with an afro. We want an Asian child with blonde hair. If you can provide that, if your child fits that role, hey, they're going to see your child. If your child doesn't, they're going to find that child that fits that role.
How
And
does
just
how does developing the self-esteem of a child in that type of environment where you can be told at any moment that you're not who we want, you're not good enough, how does that work?
that's the parent, that's the job of the parent to do. And each child is different. You approach each child differently. I don't, I approach my child one way. You approach your child a different way. This gets down to, you have to know who your child is. You've got to know who your child is. You've got to know what their sensitivities are. You've got to know how to talk to them so that they hear you. This is all the work that you have to do if you want to be in this business. You have to know how to, even in everyday life, what if they don't get picked to be on the volleyball team at school?
Yeah.
How do you address that? How do you comfort your child and soothe your child with that? It's the same thing. As long as you remember and you remind your child that this is a business, then with whatever other parental skills you have in dealing with your child, that's how you deal with that. I mean, I remember my child. There was a kid. There was a child actor's name. His actual name was Zero. I'll never forget this. And this kid got this particular role, and my son was despondent. He was just out of his because he wanted this particular role.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just did what I do for anything with a child, with my child, let him know that he was wonderful, that this was just not the opportunity for him at this time, that there will be many, many more opportunities. This is just one show. You are wonderful. I love you, so you do what a parent does to soothe their child.
Okay. I like
Yeah,
that. So I think that goes back to the chapters where you mentioned for the parents to search within themselves, why do they want this?
precisely.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else that you want to share with us about your book? How our audience members can buy your book as well?
The book is on Amazon, is on Amazon.com. Um, I think just basically the things that we have said, just understand what it is you really want. Is this an unmet need of yours that perhaps when you were a child, you wanted to do this and your parents wouldn't allow you to? Are you operating from that? Are you operating from, oh, this is extra money to come into the household? We need this money. That happens more than anything. I call it some parents pimp their children. And this is just a fact of life. Are you doing this because you really want to explore your child's desires to see which direction they want to go into, and you really want to be a supportive parent.
Yeah.
These are all the things that you have to ask yourself. And these are all the things I would like to leave with the parents. And that it's we as parents, we don't own our children. Cahill Gibran has a chapter on children, if you ever pick up his book. And he talks about we are only a channel through which our children come. We don't own our children. And we still have to support our children and love them and let them go their way. So just understand who you are, understand who your child is, and if what you desire and what your child desires mesh.
Okay. Love that. So, ladies, please get the book, do your research, and if you want to support your child, I think this is the best book to get because I've never heard of anyone else say to, look within yourself and find out your why for doing this first before you take that step. That's very, very vital and a very strong message.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela, for joining us.
Thank you.